In the last episode, you saw me start my Aston Martin DB9 for the first time. Woo! And considering I'd never done an engine swap before, never mind on a V12, that feeling I got when it fired up for the first time will stay with me forever.
Come on, baby. Yeah! Come on!
But the job's not done yet. It's time to get this car to the point where we can get it through an MOT and back on the road where it belongs.
She's running!
And things have changed because I have now moved. I now actually have a home garage and even a home driveway as well to work on the cars on. And as you can see, we've suddenly got so much space, plenty of space for the cars. But I am going to have a bit of a clear out. This Ferrari's going to, I think, probably go to auction soon unless someone wants that. And I also have my glorious Ford Mustang listed for sale as well. So if anyone's interested in that, shoot me a message and we can talk business. But yeah, that's going to be going. Ferrari probably soon. Obviously, this is the project we've got on now. And then once the Aston's done, we're going to be moving on to the Range Rover Classic, which needs a full restoration. It's bit grim. Got a diesel engine in it at the minute. Head gasket's gone on that, so it needs a new engine. Going to return that to a V8 stock petrol engine, and yeah, give the exterior a full restoration as well. But first, this car. And now it goes without saying, last time you saw this, I've just got the engine started. In the meantime, I've had to start putting stuff together properly so I can actually start this car and actually drive it, because I had to get it on the trailer and off, and I didn't fancy pushing it. I can confirm it did go on and off the trailer okay. I did have to re-bleed the brakes. Turned out I didn't do that right. There's a bleed nipple on each caliper, but my friend Zoe was able to point this out and steer me in the right direction. So we got that done too. And yeah, it got here okay. It runs and drives, reverses, all good. But I didn't have the oil cooler plumbed up, so we did drop some oil from that once the oil started to heat up. So I do have more oil that I can put in, and that's why it's been sitting out here for now, because I haven't wanted to start it whilst it's got a little bit less oil. So it's okay for now, but I want to get some oil in, get it started, and then we're gonna put this under a cover outside for now, and this is gonna be our workstation in here. But before I can get onto the Aston, I've got to get through all this. So I'll check back with you in a sec and we'll get working on that Aston. Job done. Let's get this Aston in and let's get going on it. And this is the brake pipe I meant. With fluid escaping and air getting into the system, we weren't getting great brake pressure, but once it was bolted up, it seemed better.
All right, well, that appears to have got it. Actually, a brake line, no longer leaking, so that's good. We can top up our brake fluid reservoir again, because obviously we've lost some fluid. And then, yeah, we can get this swapped around, get the Mustang out, get this in.
But the joy was short-lived, as I soon realised we had a more pressing issue.
Okay, I'm just trying to run it in a bit. Starts to stutter. So there you go, that's quite cut out here. And then it sort of starts to run again.
Now, this is completely uncharted territory for me as I sort out clues, but I did notice this hissing noise. And following some consultation with Gary from DB9 Garage, he was able to point out that I didn't have the brake booster connected. This would also be causing our engine to stall, as our engine would be sucking in too much air, causing it to run badly and die. So I connected it back up and gave the engine another try. With the hissing noise now gone, it was time to give the engine some gentle revs to see if it would run better.
Right, well, one thing I've noticed since then is our pedal isn't really holding pressure. So I've got a feeling I'm going to have to re-bleed it again. But the good news is, I rev it now. There's no stuttering, no cutting out. The car's a lot more happy.
So gradually we were solving a few issues, but it was time to now deal with the next issue, which was what I noticed with the lack of pressure in the brake pedal. Okay, so car needs the brakes re-bleeding. I think that's caused some air to get into the system, but we can do that, quickly give it a bleed, and then yeah, the car should be good to be moved. In terms of the power steering fluid, I don't have the correct fluid with me, so I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way and manhandle the steering wheel for a bit. But I'm just glad that issue's done. That's a bit of a conundrum sorted, so good stuff. Before getting on to bleeding the brakes, I'm just connecting the bracket that holds the power steering reservoir back to the chassis of the car. I was just worried about it catching on the alternator belt. With that done, it's quite a simple process bleeding the brakes. Make sure the brake reservoir has plenty of fluid in, loosen off the bleed nipple and pump the air out through the pedal. There's 2 bleed points at each caliper, and I repeated the process on the other 3 sides. Knowing I was about to drive the car, I also took the opportunity to put some air in the tyres.
Alright, what I've done is I've just wedged the front seats, the front wheels, so if we move, it should stop us. So, guess we'll give it a go. Alright. Hey, we're holding. Yeah, nice. Reverse. Reverse is holding as well. Oh, that's such good news. Oh, guys. Look at that. That is prompt. Oh, so good. Okay, perfect. Well,
so all was looking good as I switched the engine off. I had to move the blankets and clear the way to get the Mustang out and a DB9 into the garage. Here we go then. The first time I'm driving an Aston Martin DB9 on camera with an engine that I installed on my own. That's still so surreal to say out loud. So she no longer only runs, but drives as well. Another milestone achieved. Now it's time to get it into the garage and start prepping it for an MOT. All right, guys, I am so excited about this. We've now got the car in the garage. It's just you and me. No one walking by, just looking around, being a bit nosy. You and me, this Aston Martin. We're gonna get it ready for an MOT. This is now Friday afternoon. I've got some stuff to get ready for, but I'll catch you on Monday morning. And we're going to start cracking through the list. Come on, look at this. Home garage, let's be having you. We're getting closer with every day to getting this car back on the road. Over the weekend, I thought up a list of things I would need to do. Okay, well, new week here now, guys, and it is grim out there. But I've been making a list of things we need to get done. So I'll quickly run you through them. Inner wing bolts, these are just underneath the bonnet. They just need, there's some brackets, and then they just get bolted up. That's nice and simple. Washer bottle, need to connect that up. Same with the headlights. Handbrake cable is going to be a bit tricky. I'm going to have to remove the passenger seat so I can get access to it. Disconnect the pin. Feed the old handbrake cable back out, so I'll have to jack it up, take the tyre off, and then feed the new cable through. Plug that into the pin as well. I think I need new pins. So that's going to be a bit of a fiddly job. Then we've got exhaust bolts. So I think that's for the cats at the back. Just need to get that all connected. It's not connected at the minute. That take 5 minutes. Where are we? Front bumper. As you can see here, the front bumper has definitely seen better days. But just for the purpose of the MOT, I'm going to use that again. I might even just try and do a quick repair on it. But I am planning on changing this this bumper. It does look a bit grim. It's obviously where it's been dragging along the water at the front with all the weight in the front of the car with the engine. This has just been dragging along. So this is the bottom side. Obviously that's the top side. It's just the wrong way around at the minute. But I think I can repair it just to be able to get it for an MOT for now. So once the front bumper's done, we can then do the wheel arch liners, get those back into place as well. Obviously we need to do things like the headlights first. Check our tyre pressure on all the tyres. As you can see, we have held pressure in that one there, so that's good. So just need to get them to the correct amount to make sure that's all good. The tyres I think are okay for an MOT, but again, might just change them at some point, but I think it should go through an MOT how they are. Reset codes, I'm hoping if I just reset these, there's an ABS warning at the minute, which I think might have been due to a flat tyre, or it might just be some stored codes. I'm hoping if I can, I'll get the code reader on it, hopefully be able to pinpoint where that is, and also it might just be when I reset the codes that it goes,
but that is basically the only warning we've got that we need to tackle. I need to bleed the cooling system, of course. I've sort of done it briefly, but I need to do it properly. Same with the power steering. Obviously, we drained all the power steering fluid when we removed the old engine, so just need to get new power steering fluid, need to check what that needs to be, fill that up, and then obviously just bleed it, which actually isn't too bad a job. Aircon plumbing, so just need to get this all into position. Obviously, I need to get a professional in to actually gas it, but I can get everything plumbed up ready for that. Then we got to fit the bonnet latch, so we can actually click the bonnet in. Fuse box bracket as well. The fuse box is kind of just sitting in position at the minute. It's not going anywhere, but obviously we need to attach it to the bracket. Under bonnet trims, so just like the braces and stuff like that. Get all those in. I think I've got quite a few here I could show you. Obviously like this bit here, for instance. I just need to get around there. Obviously we've got all the sort of skid plates as well, but obviously this will go back into the engine sort of bay. Obviously there's all the interior bits as well. I've got all the seats in the back that need doing. When I was checking the fuses in the boot as well, I took out all the lining there, so I need to put all that lining back in. Need to put the seats back in the back seats. So as you can see, need to get this mat in here again. But if I just show you down the back, as you can see, we've got obviously access to the battery, but also all the plates up there as well. Once I think all of that is done, I'll be able to just take on a test drive around sort of my driveway area, make sure I'm happy with it. It's running to temperature okay. It's not getting any issues, no faults come up in that time. If I'm happy with that, we will take it to the MOT station and get it MOT. And hopefully by the time that's all done, like I say, car will be MOT'd and it will be back on the road, which would be a huge achievement. Some of these tasks won't take very long, but some will. So I guess we'll just get cracking. I won't necessarily do it in order, but that's the general order I'll do it. So let's get cracking. So I figured I'd start with a handbrake cable, as this was going to be, in my opinion, the most difficult and time-consuming job. I've got to take the seats out first, and this is held in position with 2 bolts at the front and 2 at the back. Once they're out, you can lean the seat back and disconnect all the plugs underneath. With that done, the seat can be maneuvered out of the car to reveal my newly found wealth. Well, I just found this seat down here, and look how cheap fuel used to be back in 2018, £1.24. Oh, I wish it was that price now. I think when this is done, the premium fuel is going to be about £1.54, £1.55 per litre. It's an extra 30p a litre, that's insane. But also, I don't think they were filling this up with premium fuel, which is quite brave, I would say. For a V12 engine, older one as well, you definitely want to be giving it the best E5 fuel. Maybe back in 2018 this might not necessarily have been E10, so maybe it would have been okay or not as bad as now, but obviously I'll be putting E5 in this engine or into this fuel tank when it's ready to go. But yeah, £1.24 a litre, thing of the past. Here, I'm just disconnecting the handbrake from the car, and so far, so good. All right, well, as you can see, I've now got the handbrake cable loose. That's just a case of just being pulled out. Only thing I need to figure out is how to do this pin, which I'm hoping won't take me too long. But I've got a feeling I need to get something under there, like a small flathead screw, and it should hopefully just pry off, I'm guessing. This mechanism is what's going to need replacing. I reckon that's going to be single use because of the way it's sort of held on. But yeah, once that's out, we can pull this cable out. Yeah, like that. That's where I cut it last time. And I'll have to try and obviously feed the new one through here, and then just try and get it to come through down here in that gap down there. Which admittedly is a harder job than I was anticipating. If I'd actually known it was going to be this hard and I was going to need new pins and stuff like that, I probably would have just bared with the old handbrake, but we're committed to it now, and that's the evidence. It's got to come out. Okay, good news. Cable is now out. I ended up disconnecting these brackets just so I could get a better angle at it. And basically I just had to lift off this part. That was sort of holding this washer in. And then once that came off, this just dropped out the bottom. So yeah, nice and straightforward. This is now completely free. So just gotta, jack this up and feed the new cable through. Now, I thought this was going to be a lot more difficult trying to feed it through the hole, but it was actually pretty simple. However, I then spent the rest of the afternoon wrestling with the cable, unable to get it connected to the handbrake properly. All right, guys, well, new day and new week here. It's just been the Easter weekend. I stopped recording in the end because I was just getting so frustrated. This handbrake cable,
just can't seem to figure it out. I've been loosening it off. Back here, there's a cable down here that you're meant to loosen it off to release the tension in the cable. But even then, I still can't seem to get it properly plugged in. So I've been reaching out to some people I know who work on Aston Martins for help. I'm waiting to hear back from them about any advice. They might even have to come here and help me, but I just don't want to spend another afternoon with no more progression. So instead of, I'm actually going to turn away from the handbrake cable for now, which I know is a bit defeatist, but I think it's going to be better use of my time. I'm going to crack on with all the other jobs, get those done. So then basically we've just got the handbrake cable to do. Just. Back to my list, the first item is to connect the inner wing bolts. On the passenger side, I had to disconnect the coolant reservoir and drain the water out a bit in order to get proper access to install the rearmost inner wing bracket. With the coolant tank out the way, I also used this opportunity to connect the fuse box to its bracket. And draining the coolant reservoir tank, you can see I made a bit of a mess. But still, that's one job done. Next job. We've got the fuse box routed back up now as well. That's properly connected to the bracket, so that's good. And then I've actually plugged this all back in properly with the clips in their correct places. As you can see down there, this one didn't seem to have one. So I probably lost that, but yeah, it's gonna hold on okay. I'm pretty confident on that. So yeah, that means next job, fuse box bracket, done. Yeah. All right, now whilst I'm taking this wheel off, it's obviously a bit different from having a lift, but I want you to rest assured, I am working on that. I'm gonna either look to get quick jacks or just sort of a really small lift that you can actually just put into a home garage. So you're just gonna have to bear with me a little bit whilst I get this done, but basically we're gonna finish off this Aston without any lifts, and then we're gonna try and have a bit of fun with sourcing new ones. I'm gonna try and get them from some interesting locations and just see how they compare with buying them from, say, trusted dealers in Britain. It's gonna be interesting, but I thought we'd make quite an interesting video, a bit of investigative journalism. But anyway, let me get this wheel off and get this washer bottle fit. And moments later, the washer bottle was in, but we had another problem. Ladies and gentlemen, first huge issue. Oh God, well hopefully it won't be too bad. But I was just looking at all our AC connections, and as you can see, we've got two connections that go on the top, and this bolts, these bits bolt down here. As you can see, I've got the bolts still in place, and then this is one part, and that's the other that connects onto the top, and then they get bolted in. This, unfortunately, goes nowhere. As you can see, get you a good view. This was two separate parts. They obviously just rejoin in, that's fine. But this is what's been bothering me. I've been trying to figure out where on earth this goes, and the news isn't good at all. And that's because when I was taking the engine out the car, I moved it all out the way from where it was meant to be, just so it didn't snag when I was putting the engine out. And I've just looked, it's not meant to be there, and it's not even meant to be there. It's meant to be all the way down here. So, no ramp. It's not like I can take the body off again. Not that I'd want to do that at this point, to be honest. Anyway, I'm too far in. But I need to route, I need to route this back round, down, all the way down through here. And then it goes, I think if it's the alternator there, it goes just below it and feeds round. And then there's actually an electric connection on it as well that I need to figure out. So, not good. My hand's already scratching up a bit, as you can see. And I think it's about to get quite a bit worse. All right, well, some bad news. Now under the car, and I'm sort of routing it back. And as you can see, this is where it's sort of linked around. It's meant to carry on down here and go up here towards the top of the radiator, but it's currently going down there. And now, because it's got some metal bit here, if you can see that silver bit right here, that doesn't bend. So just trying to get this to feed back through is proving to be quite difficult, but I'm hoping I can just start to pull it, and bit by bit it'll come through. It shouldn't bend. hopefully. I think I just need to route the starter cable around it, and then hopefully we'll be able to pull it through here. But yeah, what a nightmare. So yeah, if you're changing the engine on the Aston Martin DB9, remember when you're putting the body back on, get that AC line out of there and make sure it's already routing up towards the radiator, because this is a horrible, horrible job. I think we'll get it done, but I think my hands are going to get churned up big time. All right, well, another update from me, and it's actually coming. It's very slowly. I'm just working my way through it. As you can see, I've just got to get this last bit through here now. If I can focus that. It is coming, and it's saving us a lot of effort if I can get this out. But yeah. Oh.
A few moments later.
Yeah! We are through, guys. Oh my God. What a relief. That was not fun. But now we can route it up there to the radiator. That was such a relief I could reroute it back around what is a very tight engine bay. Next up, I can now connect the AC bottle up and fix it to the car, shortly followed by the filler neck for the washer bottle. The filler neck for the washer bottle simply connects to the underside of the brace. To be honest, I'm going to reroute that AC system. I think I've done that as well. Aircon plumbing. Washer bottle? I'm sure that's under there. Yeah, there we go. I knew we had another. Washer bottle, AC plumbing. To be honest, should have taken as long as it did. That last time lapse you just watched took about 24 minutes in actual time, but I think it was sped up to about 20 seconds. Just gives you an idea of just how long some of these little tasks take. I mean, yeah, it was a bit annoying that that wasn't routed correctly in the first place, but I just assumed because it looked like an AC line that it was going to route up to that sort of AC sort of storage tank. But it didn't. And yeah, that's another job done. We basically got headlights to do on the front, bumper, wheel arch trims, and then then there's like a little cover at the front of the bonnet and the bonnet latch, and that's the front of the car done. At that point, it's just all backwards, and obviously we do still have a handbrake cable, working on a few ideas on that, but it was time to start test fitting the headlights so I can remind myself what needs to go where before calling it for the night. All right, well, new day, and so far I've had to remove the airbox. I've taken that out just because there's just no room to work otherwise. As you can see, I've got one screw in up here just to hold the headlights sort of in place. And then we have this bracket here, which is supported with a couple of screws, and this needs to connect. I can show you can kind of see the outlines of it here. So I've got to get that in there, and then there's a screw that will feed up into, see at one point again, that sort of star-shaped kind of thing. If I can get it up and get that lined up, then that will hold the headlight in place to the lower bit, and then obviously this holds it over here to the upper bit. And there we go, a bit of a fiddly one, but as you can see, we've got the bracket in there. Apparently that sort of spidery bit is pretty prone to breaking, but yeah, it didn't break when we took it apart, so that's all good. And then up here, we've got those in as well. So let's stand up. We've got one headlight. And the fitment's not too bad. I can probably adjust it a little bit, but we want to know these work first anyway. So yeah, I'm going to do the other side in a second, but obviously not having a lift, I'm sort of just jacking up one side at a time. So whilst I've got this side all jacked up, I'm just going to quickly test it now. I need to put a battery in there. That shouldn't take a moment, and then we're going to try and just turn these lights on. And hopefully, in that reflection or in that wall, we're going to see some lights. Otherwise, I might cry. Battery's connected. Let's turn this into ignition. And yeah, I can see some lights. Setting is already on. Well, there you go. See, I think these lights won't turn on until the engine starts. Don't want to start the engine just yet because a lot of things aren't plugged up, but we have lights. I think these are the indicator as well. Would that work? Should do. We should be able to have some hazards. So, let's try it. Hey, we have life, people. We have life. We can definitely just move on to the other side, get a wheel back on here for now, jack up the other side, do the same thing. Yeah, looking good. I'm quite happy. I feel like we're starting to get through some tasks now. And well, it's a bit of a mess on this side, but not for long. Voila. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Just show you. It's all sort of connected up now. Obviously, we've got the tops in, got all the electrical connections, and yeah, that's all connected in absolutely fine. Now, there was one thing, which was this. I assumed it was going to be for the lights, but it's not. It's part of the same loom, but I can't really figure out where it seems to go. There's obviously some grommet here, which should give a hint, but it doesn't. There's nowhere I can see that's obvious for that to go to. I'm beginning to hope it might be to do with our bumper. So I think there might be a bumper connection. So I might have to feed that eventually back around under here. But beyond that, I actually don't know what that's for. Bit of a guess. Obviously got the bit for the bonnet latch as well. But other than that, we're good. So this side's now done. I can fit this filter back in. Not filter, air intake. Fit that back in. And then, yeah, that's this side pretty much done as well. All right, well, time for the all-important test then. Hopefully, click that battery up again. Here we go. Ignition on. Oh, I can see it. It's interesting. It's showing more lights in this side. Huh. That's interesting. So we've got a light there. That's a bit concerning, actually. Right, let's get that hazards on and let's have a look. Ugh. Right. What the hell is going on here? We have hazards on one. Oh no, we do have hazards on there. Oh, I think I know what's happened. Okay, I think we've got a bad connection down here. I thought I had it connected okay, but maybe not. Because yeah, if that one's on, this surely should be on as well. Okay, we're back on this side now, and I'll just try and show you what the bad connection is. I think it's this one. As you can see, it's just hanging a bit loose. It was a bit annoying. Don't know if I'll be able to show you, but the whole piece sort of keeps moving in and out, so it's actually quite hard to get the connection on. I'm guessing it's just sort of broken a little bit. So I need to figure out how I'm going to get that to hold in place. I don't know if maybe... honestly, I actually don't know. I'm going to have a little think about it. So I had a quick think, and this is my solution. So I've got the headlight back out the car now. I did have to take the wheel off just to get it actually back out. And I was sort of just prepping this to kind of demonstrate to you the problem, but as you can see, it's already done it. It's pushed back through this gap. It's just not holding how it's supposed to be. Now, I don't think I can very easily get this back through, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bit out, get the angle grinder out, just cut that section, and then it'll give me a better sight into here and what's like, maybe something's broken that's meant to be holding it that we can repair. I don't really know how it's sort of being held in one position, but if I get this little section off, if I do a clean cut, I'll be able to weld it back on, plastic weld it back on in a sec anyway, so it won't be like it's any different. But yeah, I think if I can just, get access to this, we'll understand why it's doing that.
A few moments later.
Okay, well, I've just done the cuts now, as you can see here, and to be honest, it wasn't a bad cut in the end, but the failure is quite clear now, is that basically once this comes through, it's supposed to click in down on this end here into position, sort of fasten like that, almost creating a seal, sort of almost like not a gasket seal, but close. And that seems to then sort of hold it a bit better in place, and to get it back out, you know, I'm having to put a bit of force to get that out. So what I think I should be able to do now is I'm just going to actually weld it all together down here. Just a plastic weld. I'm just going to get a zip tie and just sort of melt it all together, and then probably just chuck a little bit of araldite on it as well, just to cement it. Once I'm happy that's in, I'm going to then obviously weld it back into position like this. All right, well, that should all be all good now. As you can see, we've got it on. I'm just going to try the headlights as well, because I know I think it's a different plug. Might as well. How do we do that? Left hand. Here we go. We can see two there. Just go check. Oh God, I didn't. Oh my God, I thought that was the hazard. Did not mean to start it. Two sets of hazards. We're looking good, guys. Let's chuck those headlights on. Let's just have a look. The aim looks all right. They look to be, obviously it's going to be, this side's a bit higher because it's jacked up, but yeah, working headlights. Working headlights, and I've walked around as well, all the indicators are working. So I think we can say that's those jobs done. I'm just gonna quickly put the wheel back on and then let's update that board. All right, so headlights test, and it's just as well we did do that test in the end because as you saw, it wasn't actually working first time around. And can you imagine if I got all the way, put the arch liners on, the bumper on, and didn't check? That would have just given me so much extra work. So really glad we did that, and it's good to know it's working all right. There's going to be some bits I'm not going to want to do to the end. That's going to be our front bumper and our wheel arch liners. Now, the wheel arch liners, we obviously have an ABS light on. If I need to investigate that and look around all the sort of brakes, just to see if there's a bad connection or anything like that, I'm going to have to take the wheel arch liners back off. Much the same with the bumper as well. Again, it's just everything we're going to have to take off if something isn't working. The bumper won't take too long to put on. And it does need a bit of repair as well. Check tyre pressure, I think we're all good on those now actually. So that can be ticked. Obviously this is going to be the ones that we're going to have to start getting into, which is going to be like a bit more technical stuff. We can do the exhaust bolts, that will take me 5 minutes, I'll do that in a second. And then that's basically all our sort of bolting together bits done other than the wheel arch liners and the front bumper, which I'm going to leave till later. So it's going to basically leave us with slightly more technical stuff. But as you can see, we're getting a lot closer. Like I say, these are just going to have to wait. I need some help on that. So on terms of the handbrake cable, if you know what I'm missing out here, it's possible. I've spoken to some people that maybe I left it on or sort of fully inclined when I disconnected it. But to be honest, I've had the Aston Martin Vantage before. I've had this now, and when I've been moving the cars around, I've never used the actual handbrake because it's got the park brake. Maybe stupidly, but I haven't. So unless it's told me in a manual to do it, I just don't think I would have had the handbrake engaged. I've obviously tried adjusting it down here. I still can't seem to get it to just loosen the tension. So if you've got any ideas to try, please, I am all ears. So please let me know down in the comments below. I'll be really, really grateful. But now, if you don't mind, guys, I'm actually just going to tell you something about something a little bit personal, a little bit close to my heart. On the 21st of April this year, very, very soon, less than a few weeks, I'm going to be competing in the Ironman 70.3 in Valencia. It's basically a long triathlon. I'm doing it for, well, basically in memory of my dad who passed away just over 4 years ago through cancer. So basically it's very close to my heart. I'm raising it for Pancreatic Cancer UK and also Cancer Research UK. So I'm going to leave a link down in the description below just to read more about the story. I'm rubbish at talking about it. So yeah, you're just going to have to take my word for it, please, if you could just read the story. And if you have a spare pound to donate towards what our great cause is, I'd really be most grateful, guys. Yeah, I'll talk about it there. I can't really talk about it face to face with you guys because, yeah, I'll tear up. But yeah, if you can, I'll be really grateful. Other than that, next episode, we're getting this MOT ready. I hope it should be MOT, but by the end of the next episode, that's going to be the plan. But I wanted to bring you guys a bit of an update on where we're at. So not quite road legal yet, but it's running and driving. We just got the sort of nitty gritty bits to do now, just to make sure this car's running absolutely sweet. But yeah. Link in the description down below to that Ironman story. If you wouldn't mind just taking a moment to read that, I'll be immensely grateful. Thanks guys, see you next time. Bye bye.